Hey guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com, and I'm with another quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news and announcements for the week ending August 21st, 2017. This is episode number 109 of the recap, and the first bit of news this week is from Gameforge, and it's the big one. Soul Worker is finally happening. Official news came out this last week about the game's launch, and is expected to launch by the end of the year in both North America and Europe. This announcement comes over a year after Gameforge first announced they acquired publishing rights for the game. What's a bit odd about this one though is that despite being a Korean MMORPG, it actually launched in Japan first, before South Korea, and it likely has to do with the game's anime graphics, which I think are absolutely beautiful. If you never played the Japanese or Korean version of the game, it's basically a lot like Critical Online, as it has the whole instance dungeons, persistent towns elements. The character designs and graphics are amazing as well. It's probably the best looking anime MMO I've ever seen, plus it has a guitar wielding lolly, which gives it a 10 out of 10 in my book. Next up, I usually save mobile news for later, but Pearl Abyss revealed Black Desert Mobile for the first time, and it actually looks really good. But then again, it's a teaser trailer, and these always tend to look pretty good. But from the looks of it, the game looks to be a top-down action MMORPG, and it's going to feature world bosses, life skills, and PvP sieges. Since there's no release date for the game in South Korea, it's still a long ways away from being able to play it here in the West. I personally think Black Desert Mobile looks good, but until I get my hands on it, I'm not going to get too excited. Up next, Path of Exile announces the official release date for its Xbox One launch, which is set to go live on August 24th, which is this Thursday. Keep in mind though, the Xbox version of the game will be separate from the PC one, so unless you're playing on the same platform, you won't be able to play with your friends. Ground Gear Games says that they did this because of a small number of gameplay differences between the PC and Xbox versions, namely the number of flask slots, as well as how skills are targeted. Leagues and content updates are set to follow the same release schedule though, which is great because most of the time PC updates come way before the console ones, but they're going to try making that window a little bit shorter. Next up, we have another big launch on August 24th. Nexon's side-scrolling MOBA Hyper Universe is set to begin early access on the 24th, which is again this Thursday. Unfortunately though, Nexon is going with the whole paying money to play early access, but the game is free at launch model. So the base price of the game will be $15.99, but it'll be on sale for about $9.91 for the first 4 days. Buying early access grants you access to 24 of the game's 28 playable characters, but on the positive side too, previous alpha and beta testers will get early access to the game for free. Nexon's first assault followed the same business model as being buy to play in early access and free to play at launch. While I'm not a huge fan of this model, we're seeing more and more games embrace it. And speaking of buy to play in early access and free to play at launch, Quake Champions is officially launching into early access tomorrow, August 22nd, and will cost $30, but it'll be free to play at its actual launch. Anyone who buys into the early access pack will not only get access to the game, but also gains access to all of the 11 current champions, as well as all future ones. They also get an exclusive skin for Ranger, as well as 3 loot chests. Buying the game now does make some sense for fans of the game because it's going to cost $40 to unlock all the champions in the future, but you can get that same unlock for $30 now. Still, not a fan of the whole charge money for early access thing, but we're seeing everybody do it. Next, some pretty big news from Digital Extremes, the guys who made Warframe. They revealed a brand new free-to-play shooter this week called The Amazing Eternals. The game was originally codenamed Keystone and was first teased back in May. We can see for ourselves now what the game is all about, and from the looks of it, The Amazing Eternals looks to be something like Paladins or Overwatch, as it's an FPS game with some card elements. Closed beta and the Founders Program are set to begin on the 29th, so you'll get a chance to try it relatively soon. Time will tell whether the game proves successful. It is interesting to see Digital Extremes make a whole new game while Warframe still is in beta. Kappa. Next up, in some older news that I forgot to cover, ELOA shut down for a second time. ELOA, which stands for Elite Lord of Alliance, shut down its servers for good on August 11th, 2017, and that was through Game in Game. This is the second time the game has shut down since WebZen first launched it in 2015. Game in Game only ran the servers for about 8 months before pulling the plug, and given how many older MMOs we've seen relaunch on Steam, perhaps ELOA will be resurrected at some point in the future, but for now, rest in pepperoni, ELOA. Next, in some more positive news, Ultima Online, the granddaddy of modern MMORPGs, is celebrating its 20th anniversary with a slew of in-game events and a new content arc called the Shattered Obelisk. The update adds content to the game in 5 parts, the first of which already launched on August 16th, and the last part which is set to launch on September 28th. Ultima Online was actually my first MMORPG, so it does hold a special place in my heart. It's amazing to see the game still running and alive after 20 years of continued service. I actually still play Ultima Online from time to time on various private servers with older rule sets. I love the game and I hope it survives for another 20 years. Next up, the Secret World of Legends opened up a new zone in its latest 2.1 patch, which added the Kaiden, the Scorched Earth region of Tokyo. Other 2.1 patch changes include the additional elite difficulty levels for scenarios, new weapons, cosmetic options, as well as some skill reworks. The game is doing quite well since it launched on Steam, averaging about 2,000 concurrent users at any given time on Steam alone, and actually, since it launched off Steam first, I'm sure many more people are playing off of Steam. Also, in some related Secret World news, Johnny Depp's film company is going to be producing a Secret World Legends TV series. While no definitive release date has been announced, if it happens, I believe it'll be the second MMORPG to have a TV series, the first being Defiance, which had a show on Sci-Fi. Up next, the upcoming Japanese mobile/PC cross-platform MMORPG Caravan Stories has already exceeded 1.5 million registrations in Japan, which is a pretty big milestone for them. A very short 2-day closed beta is starting tomorrow and will run until August 24th. And while Caravan Stories looks cool, there's still no word on a Western release date just yet. I suspect if it does well in Japan, we might see it here in the West, otherwise, probably not. Next up, while not exactly MMO news, Tekken, one of the world's best-known fighting game franchises, is getting a mobile release. Tekken soft launched on iOS and Android already on August 18th in Canada. While no global launch date has yet to be released, it's already soft launched in Canada, so a US launch probably isn't too far away. I'm curious to see how well the controls end up working on a typical smartphone screen. If Tekken on mobile isn't proof that mobile is taking over the world, I don't know what is. Up next, Turkish game publisher Entroy has partnered with Object Software to launch Phoenix Dynasty 2 in English on October 6, 2017. A Turkish language version of the game is already live on Steam right now, and boy is it a real duker. I did a first look for it already, and it does not look or feel like a game developed in 2017, let alone the last decade. But who knows, maybe it will find success in the Turkish market. I don't think the English version will do particularly well though, but I could be wrong. The original Phoenix Dynasty game was a 2D title that launched back in 2007. If anybody still remembers it, I guess this is supposed to be a sequel to that game. Moving right along to some traditional MMO news, Elder Scrolls Online launched their Horns of the Reach DLC game pack this week, also titled Update 15, which includes 2 new dungeons, new collectibles, new item sets, and a new Battleground game mode, as well as a new Battleground map. It's a pretty sizable update. It's a bit over 5 GB, so it's a big one. And as always, players with the ESO Plus membership get it for free, while others can buy it for 1,500 crowns. Next, French game studio Atelier 801, which is best known for Transform Ice, announced a new free-to-play 2D zombie MMO this week called Dead Maze, where players will be working together to try and take down hordes of zombies. The game will feature over 500 items, multiple classes, and thirst/hunger meters. No firm release date was announced for the game just yet, but they're aiming for an early 2018 release. Given how awesome Transform Ice is as a game, I expect Atelier 801 is going to do a pretty good job with Dead Maze, but we'll have to wait and see. The next and last bit of news this week comes from Tencent regarding their upcoming MOBA Strike of Kings, which officially changed its name to Arena of Valor this last week. It'll be launching in the West for realsies on October 10th. Whether you like mobile games or not, this one is a big deal and is worth paying attention to because it's currently the most successful video game in the world after making approximately $810 million in its first 3 months of launch. The game is absolutely huge in China, and I expect it'll do really well in the US as well. I've played it, and it's surprisingly fun. Perhaps this is the MOBA that'll dethrone League of Legends after all, but we'll have to wait and see. It's already dethroning League in China. We'll just see if it does so here in the West. Anyway, guys, that's it for MMO News this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later, guys.